Thank you for joining me. We will be starting in approximately 1 minute and 15 seconds. There we go. Hi, thank you for joining me on this early Wednesday afternoon. My name is Wayne from Designs. I'm a small business owner and a part of the xTool Squad program. So the xTool Squad is a global network of experience makers, educators, and small business owners such as myself. We offer one-on-one demos of the xTool products that we own. And the demos are a mix of online and in person. We also offer material testing. So I should say that not everyone offers this. So some of the hosts will offer material testing, I do, as well as skill training. So material testing involves testing customer supplied samples under a number of different parameters to get you perfect results. Whereas skill training is essentially a one-on-one masterclass with an xTool Squad member. We will help you skip any learning curve with help from initial setup and maintenance to helping you perfect your projects. Basically, it's whatever you want to get out of it. So if you say, Wayne, I need some skill training, I'm having some issues learning the software, we will focus on that. Versus if it's more of the, I'm scared to undo these bolts to clean the laser lens or undo these bolts to clean the fan, we will help you with that. So that's what the skill training is essentially. Whatever you want to get out of it, we will aim to make sure you have those required skills by the end of the session. So I should say that material testing and skill training are paid for solutions. So you pay the host. Each host has their own prices, whereas the demos are absolutely free. So the demos are paid for by xTool. So xTool will pay the host. So if anyone requests a demo from me, for example, you pay absolutely nothing. No credit card information, no debit card information. You just select what day, what time suits you, if it's in person or online, and that's it. You're good to go. So xTool, I've got this phenomenal promotion going where you can get some hands-on experience if you do the in person, or online can be similar. I have a nice camera setup so I can highlight the machines I have here in the office. I also have the ability to allow people remote access to one of my machines so you can physically control the machine from where you're at. There's a variety of options, but this promotion by xTool is a phenomenal chance if you're serious about considering what type of laser you want and you have an idea of what you think you want or what you do need. Find a host and I'll show you how to do that. So what I'll do is I'll drop the information in the chat. So this is where you'll go to find a demo host. But if you want to find where it is on the actual website, if we switch over to Safari, along the top, you'll have local support and free product demo, and that will open up in a new tab. And as you can see here, Metal Fab, a Power Printer, P3, F2, or basically all the product lineup that xTool offer that are currently selling on their website, they will offer a free product demo for. The only thing you will pay for is a Power Printer film sample demo. or an actual sample of it, should I say. And that's just to cover the cost of shipping, the host time, and it's a reasonable cost, $12.99 for a sample of the Power Printer. So let's just say we was to book an in-person demo. We'd click in person, we'd have a look, and let's just say again, we'll look at Luton. You'll be given some options, and you can say, do you know what, I want to look at the metal fab machine. And we can then scroll down and go, do you know what, who has this metal fab machine? And we can scroll up and down and find out who has it. So we might go, do you know what, actually, we're looking for the P3. And we go, okay, Damien, continue. We can select time, enter in the information, and you're literally good to go. So it's that straightforward. So if anyone's interested in that, please let me know. If you have any issues, again, do feel free to reach out and I'll be happy to help you. So that's pretty much what the xTool squad do. So we're not xTool employees, we work with xTool. So we have brought these products for our own business. And what we do is we're happy to show people how we use the machines for what we use it for. So sometimes when you're looking for a host, it might be beneficial to reach out to them and see what they do. If you read their profile, they might tell you what they do for a business. So if you are a goldsmith and are looking to buy a machine, it might be beneficial to reach out to someone that does that with their machine, so that are into engraving jewelry, and that way you can get a better demo and can kind of see the workflow that they do for that type of product. So I have a rough idea for this workshop. So it's more of a which laser do I need? So we asked this question yesterday, which laser do I need? And I did hint at sometimes a laser isn't the appropriate choice. So xTool do have a range of options. So a big mention should be to the newly released O1 Omni printer. So this machine is literally fresh off the press. It comes in 3 variations. And it could be that you utilize this machine in conjunction with your laser. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be cutting out material with my machines and then printing on it with this machine. And this machine is printer. So this machine does not do any laser engraving. It uses UV light to cure the ink in real time. And like I said, it comes in 3 variations. So you've got the single UV. So if you say, Wayne, I want to print on rigid items, the single UV would be the one I would recommend. And that's the cheaper of the 3. Now, if you want to print onto flexible items, so we're talking leather. So if you want to print onto this leather, you can see that I can bend it. You will need the dual UV. So it has that flexible ink that it will lay down first, then it will print on top. And what happens is that will not crack when you bend it. If you was to use the single UV and print onto this, because it doesn't have that flexible ink, it will crack. So if you say to me, Wayne, I want to print on rigid as well as flexible items, the dual UV is where I would go. And then finally, we have the DT plus UV. So if you said to me, Wayne, I want to print on clothes, that is the one you will need. So the UV ink is not suitable for clothes. It's not. It's just not suitable for many reasons for clothes. So the UV plus DT is the one you would want. So the UV plus DT, it has one set of inks for the UV side of things and one set of inks for the DT side of things. And something that you should note is this UV plus DT can only print on rigid object. So this cannot print on flexible. It does not have that flexible ink. So the only machine that will work if you print it on flexible materials is the dual UV. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. There's so much more to cover with the UV, and maybe we'll touch on it a little bit later. I have ordered mine. I'm eagerly awaiting it, as are many. So I don't get anything special in terms of delivery times. So we shall see when it comes. But I've ordered the full kit, so the rotary attachment, the laminator, the roll feeder. And if you want to find out more information about the O1, I will drop information in the chat. I'll also drop my contact information in the chat. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me on WhatsApp. So if you have any questions right now, drop them in the comments. If you have any questions for me and you're watching this after it's aired, please reach out to me. So WhatsApp, normal text message, iMessage, even a phone call, as long as it's not in the middle of the night. I would appreciate that greatly. So I'm based in the UK, so I've had some calls. So I would be very grateful if you could call me during normal hours. And that is the gist of the O1. So again, we'll cover this maybe a bit later. But what I plan on going over today is just the 3 lasers that I've got here in my office. So I do have the S1, but I need to make room. I need to make room in the office for a lot of things. So I don't have this in my office at the moment, but I do have the xTool S1, the 40-watt diode version with the riser base. But the machines I'm going to look at today are the M2, the F2, and the F2 Ultra UV. So we'll cover the tech specs. We'll have a physical look around, and we'll just have a general chat. I'll talk about laser safety, the xTool Studio, what materials do you want to work with. It's understanding what you want to do is important. It's a critical aspect. So what materials you want to work on should determine what laser you get. So a lot of people will get the laser and then determine what they want to do with it. So for example, if you buy a CO2 laser and then go, do you know what, I want to work on some jewelry. CO2 lasers are not the best, are not ideal for marking metal in the same way that an infrared or a fiber laser is. So you have to look at what products you want to do before you buy the laser versus try and figure it out afterwards. Some people do it that way. They buy the laser and determine the products. That's one way of doing it. But in your head, you should really know what you want to do, what you want to get out of it. And that's the best way so you're not left disappointed. We'll cover custom things and AI Make. So right now it's in version 2.0. AI Make is xTool's AI generation platform. It's absolutely fantastic. I use it in my daily workflow. It saves me time, which saves me money. And I get the results I want consistently. And that's the key thing. Consistency is very key for me. Batch processing. So we can do batch processing on different machines in different ways. And then online orders. So if you're taking online orders, it kind of links in with the custom things. But if you're looking at starting an online business, so you don't have a website at the moment, or maybe you do, I can show you how custom things links into your website. If you don't have a website, you can still take online orders by using custom things. And then questions and answers. I'm monitoring the chat right now. If you have any questions, please do ask. I should also know, I always fail to do this. There's a coupon code, Wayne20. I'll drop that information in the chat. If you use that, you'll get £20 off. It should stack. If it doesn't, reach out. I can also offer an additional discount via Host Assist. What that means is you just tell me what you want. xTool will send you an email with an invoice with an additional discount applied. So it's not that you're paying me, you're still paying xTool. It's just xTool allows me to add an additional discount that way. So if we crack on, if we excuse me, if we have a look at the xTool M2, so this is xTool's upgrade over the M1. But one of the key things I just want to point out straight away is this does not have the blade functionality. So the M1 Ultra, for example, has the blade functionality where you can cut vinyl. This does not have that blade. So I just want to make that very, very clear. So it has a few variations in terms of laser module. So it has two variations of the diode laser. It comes with a 10 watt and 20 watt diode laser version. So depending on which model you buy, depends on which diode module comes with it. You can also purchase a module later. So for example, you could buy the 10 watt to start with, and then you could just buy the 20 watt module. So you don't have to buy the whole new machine, you just buy the module. So you can buy the 20 watt module after the fact. And then it also has the ability to purchase that 3 watt infrared module. So that's an additional extra. So if you want to engrave on metal, the infrared module is what you would need. Whereas if you're doing organic matter, wood, engraving, cutting, that sort of stuff, the diode laser is effective for that. So if you're cutting, I would say go with a higher module, versus if you're engraving, go with the lower module. And the reason for that is, because you might say, do you know what, I'll go with the 20 watt, I can engrave and cut on that. And that's correct, you can. The laser dot size of the 20 watt is slightly higher than the 10 watt. And what that means in a nutshell is, if you think of it in terms of drawing, the 20 watt is equivalent of drawing with a pen, versus the 10 watt is equivalent of drawing with a pencil or a sharp pencil. So with the 10 watt, you're able to get more of that finite detail than the 20 watt. And I'll show you a little image later on that will hopefully make sense. Now you also have the ability to print with this machine. And I say print because it uses actual ink, so it does print, and it's a full set of ink. So CMYK, full color. So C, cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is for black. So it doesn't have a white ink. So if you're printing on darker objects, the color might be lost. So if you're printing, print on lighter materials, and you'll see the contrast. And this is a water-based ink, so it's not safe to put in on clothes and then wash it. It will wash out, so it's water-based ink. And another thing, this machine is fully enclosed and is a class 1 laser. So what that means is you cannot operate this machine without that guard down, and that guard will protect your eyes. It keeps everything enclosed, and you can vent the smoke directly outside using the included hose, and it has air assist built in as well as a fan to suck out all the smoke. But that class 1 laser certification is very important. So it means you don't have to wear safety glasses. You can operate this machine around young ones, animals. It's very, very safe. If you was to start the machine and little hands will lift up that lid, see what's going on, it will stop. So it's very, very safe, and that's important to note. It does have some novel features. It can auto detect material using AI. Realistically, you should know the material that you put in. But what I will say about this is it's very, very accurate. If I put in a cork coaster or a slate coaster, it will properly identify what it is and come up with some parameters. So ideally, you should know what material you're putting in for a variety of reasons that we won't get into today, but you should realistically know the materials that you're engraving or cutting. This machine is a gantry-based machine and has a max speed of 600 millimeters a second. So a gantry machine will move left to right, so it's got an X, Y, and Z axis. Whereas a galvo laser, the other two lasers I have here in the office are galvo-based lasers, and I'll cover that when we get to them. This machine is pre-assembled and is ready to use out the box when you do a brief calibration. So that's required on all the machines, and that's to give you optimal results. So things move around during shipping. It's very well packed, but things do move around internally. And you do that calibration to make sure you're getting ideal results from day one. So I do a calibration after I move it. So by that, I mean I've taken my machines to the Birmingham's NEC. When I get to the NEC, I do a calibration because things go out of whack in the car journey there. Bumpy roads, everyone knows about that, I'm sure. And then on the journey back, when it gets here in the office, I run a calibration again because the same thing, it gets bumped around and knocked around and things go out of calibration. So calibration is key, and the software will take you through all the steps. Honestly, it's very straightforward. In terms of the max workspace, and I say max with an asterisk, because you only get the full usable work area of 42.6 centimeters by 32 centimeters with the 10 watt and 20 watt diode lasers. If you use the 3 watt infrared module, because it's deeper and thicker, you will lose some of that workable space. And again, the same thing for the inkjet module. That will give you the least usable area, so it reduces further, and it shows you on the screen the grayed out areas when you switch between the different lasers or inkjet module. If you want to find out more information about this machine specifically, you can reach out. You can scan the QR code on screen. You can also follow the link that I've just dropped in the comments, and that will take you to xTool's official UK website for this machine. I did skip over the dual cameras. So this has cameras. It has a 5 megapixel panoramic camera that's located on the lid. It automatically takes a picture every time you close the lid. Amazing feature, I must add. And then it has that 2 megapixel close-up camera to the right of the module assembly. So where you put the modules, to the right of that, you'll see a little camera icon on top, and it will take a picture of the material close up. And don't get hung up on the one is 5 megapixels, the other's 2. Megapixels will only tell you part of the story, and any photographers that are watching will know exactly what I mean. The lens makes all the difference. So megapixels is one part, but the lens makes all the difference. So the 5 megapixel has that panoramic fisheye type lens, so you get distortion, whereas that 2 megapixel camera does not. And I will show you the difference in camera quality, and you will understand where I'm going with it. So again, if you want to find out more information, please follow the link, scan the QR code, or reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. Now, if we jump over to the F2. There we go. Absolutely phenomenal. There we go. So that is the xTool F2 Ultra UV. And again, it operates on that 5 watt of power of the UV laser of the 355 nanometer spectrum. Has a max speed of 15,000 millimeters a second. It has a 48 megapixel camera, and that allows an alignment accuracy when fully focused up to 0.2 millimeters. So it's very, very accurate, that camera. This machine specializes on inner engraves. It's quite amazing to see this engrave on the inside of glass. And then this machine also comes pre-assembled, and honestly, it's very, very well packaged. This is an amazing machine, and xTool have done a fantastic job in terms of the workspace. The Galvo lasers, you can see 15,000 millimeters a second compared to the gantry-based 600 millimeters a second. So one of the pros of a Galvo laser over a gantry laser is the speed. And the reason for that is it doesn't have any moving parts in the same way. It does have some mirrors that will move around. So a couple of mirrors that will move around and bounce the laser, and that's in the top laser source. You'll find the mirrors, and they will move around slightly. So make those micro adjustments, and that will move it great distances in a very short amount of time. So that's how it's able to get those fast speeds. But one of the downsides of Galvo-based lasers is the usable work area. So if you say to me, Wayne, I want to work on large pieces of wood, a Galvo laser will not do that. So you have a limited bed size. What I tend to do, so this is how I use my lasers. I have multiple lasers, and I've mentioned this to multiple people multiple times. Sometimes there's no one laser that does everything that you want. It really depends on your project or your product that you're doing. So by that I mean, if you say to me, I want to do Christmas ornaments, I want to buy big pieces of wood and cut out Christmas ornaments. And it could be, okay, a CO2 laser, we do acrylic. CO2 laser will do that. But you might want to split things up. And by that I mean you would use your CO2 laser to cut out the shape of the Christmas ornament. So in this case, maybe the reindeers. And then you would put it in a different machine and have it engrave it. So that's what I do. I use my gantry-based machines to cut, purely cut, and they will cut out my raw stock, my raw shapes. I will then put it in a faster machine for a couple of reasons. So the first one is it's faster. And the second one is it's a different type of laser, generally speaking. So for example, if I had a CO2 laser, I had some black acrylic, I will chop out the shapes on that, and then maybe I'll use the infrared on one of my other faster Galvo lasers to engrave on it, because the infrared has a very tiny dot size. I'm able to get nice details on it. Or maybe I'll use the O1 printer to print directly onto it in full color. So you synergize with different machines. And if you're just starting out, you might think, oh no, this is an expensive game. I'm going to have to buy this, buy this, buy this. You don't have to start that way. That's the way that I now do it. When I initially started my laser journey, I started with a single laser. I made it make money. I made products that make money. And yes, it wasn't the fastest, but I was able to make a quality product, ship it out, make a name for myself, get repeat orders. And then I was able to fund my next laser and keep the current laser that I had. So I was able to add another laser to the arsenal. And slowly I've added these additional lasers as and when I've needed them. So right now I'm in the market for a CO2 laser. I want to do acrylic. I want to print on acrylic. I don't want to have to order stock sizes of acrylic. I want to order the sheets of acrylic, cut them down to size, and print directly on them. So for me to be able to do that, I need to add an additional tool to my workshop. So that's just something to mention there. So in terms of the usable area on this specific machine, 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters, and you can extend it with a conveyor belt. And this very much is a conveyor belt that will go around. It's a conveyor belt that you would find at Tesco's or Morrison's or Asda, very similar. This is made for batch producing material. So it'll use the AI function and it will literally can have a basket at the other end. It will engrave and drop them into the basket. So that's kind of more of where the conveyor belt comes from, that idea. If you want to find out more information about this machine, you can scan the QR code on screen. I'll drop the actual machine in the comments. Please feel free to check it out. If I missed anything out, please do let me know. So now if we jump over to the baby of the family, so this is the xTool F2. This is my favorite machine in terms of portability. I used this at my wedding extensively. It paid for itself, literally. With the amount of money that I saved, I spent time doing the work myself, but with the money that I saved, ordering it in from like Etsy or local businesses, it paid for itself. So this is a 5-watt infrared laser as well as a 15-watt diode laser. So it has 2 different laser sources in the machine. And because of this, it's able to engrave on well over 300 plus materials. Honestly, it's capable of doing many things. Now, in terms of speed, this has a max speed of 6,000 millimeters a second. It's very fast. Again, it's because it's a galvo laser. And this has a 50 megapixel camera. And because of that, it has an alignment accuracy with the camera. So when you take a picture using the camera of the material that's in the bed, it has an alignment accuracy when fully focused. And I should note that when you properly focus the laser the correct distance from the material, the alignment accuracy is up to 0.1 millimeters. So it's very accurate. But the good thing about these galvo-based lasers, you can do real-time framing, which you cannot do on a gantry-based system. So a gantry-based system will shine a beam of light or do a virtual crosshair, and it will go around in a square over where it's going to engrave. Whereas a gantry, a galvo-based system will show a real-time preview outline sometimes, depending on what option you select. But you will see exactly where you're going to engrave, no shadow of a doubt. Again, this machine comes pre-assembled, ready to use right out the box. Fantastic. It's got a handle on it. It's very portable. I think it's 4.6 kilograms. I've taken this on the bus. I've taken it on the train. It's very much, if you are going out and about, this is the laser you want to take out and about. It's very portable. So craft fairs, honestly, this is the go-to machine. So I would advise you check that out. I'll drop the link in the chat. You can scan the QR code if you want to find out more information, or follow that link. Again, it takes you to the official UK website of xTool. And in terms of the work area, it's much smaller. So it's 11.5 by 11.5 centimeters. That's just a little bit bigger than a slate coaster or a normal coaster. Normal coasters are typically 10 by 10 centimeters. And again, you can extend the usable work area up to a maximum of 40 centimeters in width. So you still keep that same 11.5 centimeters, but you can extend the width to 40 centimeters in total with the slide extension. And that operates slightly different than the conveyor belt. It will move along and then move back, so it doesn't just drop off. It doesn't rotate continually as the conveyor belt would. It just moves the items along and then back again. So please do check that out. And again, if you have any questions, please do reach out. I don't bite. My contact details are on screen and in the chat. Please do reach out. So in terms of the physical look around, what I'll do is I'll play you a video of the M2 to start with, and then we'll cover the aspects that have changed from that video, and then we'll cover the other machines as well. This is a physical look of the xTool M2. On the front, you have an LED indicator along with a button. When you send the job, this indicator will change and you simply press this button to start it. In terms of turning it on and off, there is a power button on the back, and this is the actual hose pipe that comes with the machine. So it's approximately 1.2 meters. I have this venting outside. You can either vent it to the air purifier or the AP2. If you do buy the air purifier, you will need the adapter. So when you select the air purifier, do select the version for the M2. It's the same machine. It just comes with an adapter, and the adapter looks something similar to this, and it simply allows you to connect the 8 centimeter hose to the 7 centimeter back of the air purifier. In terms of the camera that we talked about, on the lid, if you follow this white line up, this is the 5 megapixel camera. If I close this lid as I'm talking, you might hear it beep. If I do it again, what it's doing is it's taking a picture of the bed every time you close the lid. If anyone knows about cameras in machines, this is very handy. You have to press the button manually usually to update the picture. This is a nice automatic way of taking an update of the bed. The 2 megapixel camera is located next to where the modules lie. So this here is where the 2 megapixel close-up camera comes into play. So if I leave this lid open, right now I have the print module installed. If I show you just how easy that is to change, you simply hold it and pull on this USB-C cable that is in the side, and it just pulls off. On the back, you have these 2 metal prongs. They fit nicely in here, and the magnets pull it directly into place. So if I switch between that and the 10-watt laser diode module, and again you have this USB-C connectivity on the back, simply one hand snaps in, and I can just hold it and snap it in. It's literally that simple. So switching between the modules is very effortless. It does come with 4 of these magnets. So instead of the honeycomb bed, you just have this bed here. That's to reduce the footprint of the machine as well as the cost. So you can use these little devices here, this little magnet, to switch and turn and hold material. You can raise material off the bed. Actually quite genius. I will show you these close up on the desk camera. What I'll do now is I will switch over to the iPhone and I'll show you a close-up view of the actual bed as well as the camera that's located in it. This is a close-up using the iPhone. So again, this is what I talked about, the magnets that come with it. So again, I'll show you this under the desk camera so you can have a better look. It's very good for gripping material. You can twist and turn it, snap it into place. One of the things I will note is in the corner here, when you fit this, this is specifically for the print module, and that is because the print module has a cover on the side or the bottom. I don't know how well you can see that, but the laser will lock into that and pull it up, so it pulls it off. This cover here on the bottom stops the ink from drying up. This is a close-up of the connectivity, and I'll just do this with one hand. So again, to switch modules, you simply take out the USB-C cable. And again, I'm doing this with one hand, and you just pull it off. In terms of what the back looks like, you got them 2 metal prongs, and the 2 metal prongs fit nicely into the back there. And I don't know if you can hear it, it just literally snaps into place. And again, I'm doing this one-handed. You just put this USB-C cable into here, and there you go. It's much easier with 2 hands. So that's on now. And if I just show you underneath, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. I can't focus it, unfortunately, but that's where the 2 megapixel close-up camera is. So if I just hover over it, you can see it just here. There's the camera sign, and on the actual lid is that 5 megapixel camera. If you should hopefully hear a beep. There we go, and it's done. So it's took a picture. This is the magnets that come with the xTool M2. So you get 4 of these. This is the underside. That is what it looks like from the side. And that is what it looks like when you pull it out. So these simply pull out, and you can twist and snap them. And again, if I show you from this angle, they pull out and twist and snap, and they just pull down. So these are very good for gripping material. I've gripped wood and I'm able to raise it off the bed. So when you're cutting, you want it raised up slightly so air can get underneath it, so you get a smoother finish, a smoother cut with minimal charring. This is actually a novel way of being able to do that without using a honeycomb. If anyone has any questions about that, please do let me know. So I hope that makes sense for everyone. What I'll do now is I'll quickly just touch on some laser safety before I show you the other machines. So never leave the machine unattended. Please put this on a flat, stable surface. So the reason I say that is when I was at the NEC, for example, it was a flat surface, but in terms of stability, that become an issue when there was 20 to 30 people leaning on the desk, for example. It was able to rock just a little bit. And when I was doing an engrave, I noticed when this would happen, I would see degraded performance. So please do take that into account. So especially if you're using a gantry-based system that really does move around, a flat, stable surface is very, very key to get perfect engraves. It's generally not a problem. And you can, I should note that in the gantry-based machines, there is a way where you can take the rock of the desk, say, into consideration, into the algorithm that it uses. And I do recommend that you do that as well. So I might show you that on the M2 because I've done that when I've got it here on the rack. The rack doesn't really rock, but I did that calibration and I did notice the engraves are coming out slightly better. Don't modify the machines. They're made a specific way for a reason. So like I said, the M2 has got class 1 certification. It's protecting you from the light. Don't override the switches. So it's got interlock switches on the lid and on the base plate. So if it detects that either of those are not attached or the lid is open, the base plate is not attached, it won't work. So you don't want to override that. You want to stay safe. So please don't do that. In terms of ventilation, it does come with some hose pipe to vent it outside. I know that's not always possible, but you do want to vent this machine somewhere. So outside is the preferable way. If you can't vent it outside, you'll need to look at getting an air purifier or maybe an AP2. So the AP2s are for the bigger machines, so the Ultras and upwards. Whereas if you're looking at the P3, the biggest machine they offer, or the Metal Fab, you're looking at the AP2 Max. And all it is the air purifier wants to keep up with the space, the airflow. So the smaller machines like the M2 and the F2, you can use the air purifier. It's a very dainty machine, again, very portable. But as you go up in machines, the air purifiers get bigger, and that's just to keep up with the airflow and keep you safe. Never engrave or cut PVC or vinyl. So there's certain materials you should never cut or engrave. Most vinyl, I should say that, most vinyl is PVC based. You can get some laser safe vinyl, but as a rule of thumb, I use the right tool for the job. When it comes to vinyl, I use a vinyl cutter. PVC is very, very dangerous for your lungs, especially when it's, well, I shouldn't say especially, when it's turned into a gas. Very, very dangerous for your lungs, cause permanent damage. Do not do it. As an added double whammy, it's also highly corrosive and will damage your machine. So let's just not do it. There's a right tool for the job and there's a wrong tool for the job. So if you're looking to cut PVC or vinyl, you can, like I said, with vinyl, you can get laser safe vinyl. But as a general rule of thumb, use the right tool for the job. So PVC, it might be a CNC machine. Don't touch it. It's just not worth it. And then safety glasses. So the machines with class 1 certification only, they cannot be operated with the lid open. You do not need safety glasses. They're safe to be around. If you was to open them up when it's in operation, it will cut off the power and stop. Now the other two machines, the gantry based machines, good. The other two machines, the Galvo based machines, they can operate in class 4 mode as well as class 1. So what that means is in the software, I can say if the lid is open, stop, but I can override that. And I often do for a variety of reasons, running the conveyor belt, running the slide extension, running the rotary attachment. There's a variety of reasons why I want to be able to open that lid and engrave, because it's too big, the item's too big to fit in the work area. Now, when I do that, it's a class 4 laser. It's exposing that laser light to the room, to my eyes. I need appropriate safety glasses to protect myself and others. So here in the office, I lock the door, I drop the blinds, I have blackout blinds. My dog likes to come up outside. I can't get him to wear safety glasses. Very, very important to be safe. So this is why I mention it. I buy xTool safety glasses. I do have third-party pairs. They do offer different protection. And by that, I mean, I know this third-party pair does not protect me from the UV spectrum of light. So I would highly advise getting xTools. They tell you what spectrums of light. It's printed on the actual safety glasses. So if I just show you here, you might be able to see it. It tells you what you're protected from. So these are protecting you from very specific spectrums of light. So they're not protecting your physical eye from harm in the sense of like a rogue ball bearing hitting you in the eye, or sawdust, for example. This is protecting you from very specific wavelengths of light. So they're not normal safety glasses. They are protecting your eyes, but they're protecting your eyes in a very different way. So do check that out. And xTool, again, have their own. They're very comparable in price. In fact, they're cheaper than most pairs of third-party glasses. But again, do check them out. If you get stuck, please do reach out to me. I'm here to help you. Now, if we jump on to the actual machines, so if I switch over to the pan tilt zoom camera, I'll walk over to the back of the office. So I showed you this machine here. One of the things I did want to mention, so when I took that video, I didn't mention about the rotary attachment. So when you have the rotary attachment, you place the rotary here. There's a cable that fits to the back of this here. Now, you might be asking yourself, that sounds pretty simple. Well, this machine will not operate with the lid closed. So when I used it for the first time, I thought, how in the world is this going to work? And actually, it's quite simple. When this machine is shut down, there is a little channel along the side here that cable can run along even with this shut down. And what happens is there's a little cutout, a notch in this corner, and the cable can be threaded through. So it can be plugged in and the lid can be fully shut down with no problems. Absolutely no problems. So right now I have the print module installed. And honestly, it's no gimmicks. I can do this one-handed. I've just taken out the print module. Now, the way that the rotary attachment works is this doesn't have a riser bed, so you have limited space, but you're able to change the orientation of the laser. And it's that simple. Connect it back up using the supplied USB-C cable, and you're good to go. And it does have marks here where the rotary attachment goes. It has these left and right, and they're interchangeable. One side will say left, one side will say right. And obviously the left side will go on the left side, the right side will go on the right side. So you drop them in and you know where to place the rotary device basically. So these are alignment brackets effectively. It does come with a laser shield to protect it. So this just attaches there, snaps in place. Honestly, it's very, very simple. So if you already have a machine and have the RA3, you can buy the kit. The kit will become available very soon if it isn't already. That has these items along with this. It will have kit that will make it so you can use your RA3. If not, you can buy the RA3 Lite. And that will come with all the necessary things in it. So I did want to mention that. Now, if we move over to the bigger machine, what I'll do is I'll just get this so you can see. And I should note that I'm venting both this machine and this machine outside. So you can see the pipe here. The vent is located, when you look at the machine, to the left. So it's on the far left. It would have been ideal for me if it was located here, as it would be straight out. So I have this machine and this machine venting straight out, but I do have this machine venting to the air purifier, and I could drop it outside the window. In fact, I might do that. But I have this connected for demonstration purposes to show people how it operates in their home, or how it would operate in their home. So this machine comes with, so this is the F2 Ultra, comes with a touchpad. You might not be able to see it there, but if I was to move it there, it comes with an up button, a down button, a frame button, and the orange button here is the go button, which starts the machine. If I was to move the laser up, I'm starting to move that laser up, and you can see here that it's moving up, and you might be able to see it much better there. If I was to zoom in, you can see a red dot and a blue dot. So you use the up and down button to focus the laser on the material. When the red dot intersects with the blue dot, it's perfectly in focus. So you can do that manually, you can do that automatically through the software. Honestly, it's fantastic. So that's how you do that. It does have some buttons, and by that I mean it has an emergency stop here on the side. It has a reset button, a power button, a couple of USB connectivity. It does have some connectivity here where you can attach the rotary attachment or the conveyor belt. Snap that back in place. And this machine is very, very fast, 15,000 millimeters a second. Now, if we move on to the humble, small but mighty of the machines, this is the xTool M2. It has an emergency stop button just here. So if you need to stop it for whatever reason, you can whack that, and it's not an off button. Don't use it as an off button. It's emergency stop button for emergencies. It has a dial. So the dial on the side of this machine operates in the same way as the up and down button on the tablet, on that touch screen. And you can just focus it in very much the same way. So the red dot intersects with the blue dot, perfectly in focus. The dial is also a button, so when you're ready to start a job, you press that dial in and it will start the job. It does have a frame button, and it will frame the last thing that it did. And then again, it has some connectivity on the side. So it's very straightforward. And I should note I've got this connected directly to the air purifier, and that is to vent it out rather than vent it outside. So if I leave this machine open, and what I'll do is I will just zoom in on this machine, and then what we'll do is we'll jump straight into the software, and I'll show you a frame, a real-time frame on this, and then we'll do the same thing, and I'll show you a frame on that machine, on the gantry-based machine, and you can kind of get an idea of where we're going. So what I'll do now is I will switch over to the software. So you can see me. You can see one of the lasers next to me. Safari's open too. So what I'll do is I'll click on New. And we will find an element. We will do something. So if I go to Projects, I'm going to find something that someone's already made. Maybe I'll type in zoo. And do you know what? We will find something nice and easy. Maybe that little bear. Is it like a bear? Looks like a bear. Okay, we'll go with that. And what I'll do is I'll just say add to current project. This will add it to my current machine. So what I'm going to do is first switch my laser to the right laser would help, the UV laser. There we go. And I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to show you the different types of frame. So what I'll do is I'll see if I can zoom in. So F2 Ultra close. There we go. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit extra on top of that. There we go. So you can see that on the screen. And I will make this full screen as well when I show you. So I'm going to hit frame in here. So you have some options. So right now it's going to do a rectangle, and it's going to do so in the same way. So it's going to show you that area. So if I do a frame, you can see very clearly just below, that's a frame in real time. Now I'll turn off framing, and if I was to say an outline, now you can see what outline does. It literally creates an outline. So polygon, not really, I wouldn't really use it in this aspect with the shape, but you kind of get used to how to frame it when you frame it. For the most part, rectangle is the one I go with. Now, if we start a new tab, so I go up the top, start a new tab, I'm going to connect this to my M2. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So what I'll do is I will switch up here, switch to the M2. It's not taking a picture because I'm not asked it to. So if I was to take a picture here, please connect device, would help if it's turned on, I guess. There we go. So I've switched on the M2. I'll switch over now to the M2. It's just kicking into life. And connect. There we go. Trying to connect to it too early. So this is connected. I'll take a picture. Boom. So what I'll do to begin with is I will show you something I mentioned. So I'm going to open it up. So bear in mind, I'm over here. You can see me. I'm going to place this in the bed. I'm not by my computer, but as I close this, I want you to hear the beep and it will automatically take a picture. So that's an absolutely you don't understand how fantastic that ability is to have that. The amount of times I've moved material, forgot to update the picture and engraved the wrong place. This taking the picture is absolutely amazing. So now if we take a close-up shot maybe, and I'll just show you the quality difference. So when it does that, you'll see the quality difference. So that's that 2 megapixel camera. Very, very good quality. Now, if we just copy and paste this. Now, we can frame in a couple of ways. So the default is the weak laser. So I'll show you that. So if we use the weak laser, it will shine a very low powered diode and it will move around the perimeter. So we'll only do that square, the outer perimeter. That if I change this to red, maybe that blue square that you see, it will only show you that on the frame. And it's very slow, but it is helpful. But you'll see the difference in framing. So if we hit framing, we'll move to it and I have to press the button now to frame it. So what I'll do is I'll make this full screen. I will open up the machine. And what I'll do is I'll zoom in extra so you can kind of see, you can see that blue. There we go. You can see that light blue dot just there. So what I'll do is I'll press this and you'll see that's where it's going to engrave. So that's the framing on the M2. You do have the option of doing a very slightly different frame. So by that, I mean, you can do a virtual frame, which for me is very handy. And it's not something many people know you can do. So this virtual red crosshair, and I'll set it to 20 millimeters a second. I'll hit frame. And now I can see this using the camera inside a virtual frame. For me, this is more beneficial than the blue light, and I don't have to leave my chair. So that's the difference in framing. Real-time framing because of the massive speeds versus manual slow framing. One thing I did get asked questions on is its printing abilities. So everyone knows my feelings about its printing abilities. And I've said numerous times that you need a fixative. And I figured, you know what, I'll show people because this is a capable printer. but people get less than ideal results because you do need to do something to your material. So if I switch over to camera, desk camera, this is not treated. So this is the same material, but as you can see here, not treated. And I don't know how well you can see that. Not treated. Now, if I turn over, same picture. Treated. Look how crisp that black is. And bear in mind how I said earlier, the darker the color, the material, the colors can be lost because of that material. So if I printed this on white, it would be night and day different. But you can see the quality of that picture versus that. Honestly, it's washed out. It's absorbed too quickly. It's like tissue paper. It's absorbed and spread out. Whereas this has been treated. And I'll show you how to do this. I'm running a Q&A on Saturday, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, specifically for the M2. And I'll cover all these things, how I can do this. I've figured out a way, a very cost-effective way where you don't have to use expensive fixatives to spray it. Something that's very cheap, very readily available, that you can do yourself, and you will get these results by doing it rather than this. You just need to treat it in a very specific way. So I'm excited to show you what I did on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. I think that's all the time we have for today. But I will be online again tomorrow at the same time. Hopefully I can speed through a lot of things. But the general consensus is, depending on what you're looking for, depends on what laser, or if indeed you need a laser. If you're looking to engrave, then obviously it would be a laser that you're looking at. But then you have to ask yourself, what do you want to engrave? If you're telling me you want to engrave on metal, straight away in my head, I know that the best tool for the job is an infrared or fiber laser. Now, if you want to cut acrylic, my first question to people that always ask me that, what's the best laser? I'm looking at the M2, I want to cut acrylic. My very first question is, what colors of acrylic? Because you are limited with the diode laser. So for example, if I'm cutting black acrylic, this is black acrylic, I cut this on the M2. As you can see, it cut out absolutely fine. No problem. The different colors, especially clear, cannot do. It just will go straight through. It won't do anything. So if you're looking to do all colors of acrylic, you need a CO2 laser. It's not a question. That's what you need to do the job. If you're looking to engrave on glass, a CO2 laser can create microfractures in glass, which give you a frosted effect. But I would say the F2 Ultra UV, that directly engraves the glass, and it will physically take out material. So it does it in a very different way than the CO2 laser or a diode laser would if you coated the glass black. So ask yourself, what products do you want to do? And from that, you can determine what laser you need. And you can start with one laser, an F2, maybe an Ultra, maybe just a baby F2 would be a good start if you're doing a wide range, but you are limited on that work area. So the F2 Ultra, not to be confused with the one I got here in the office, is just a souped up version of the F2. So you have a 60 watt MOPA laser as well as a 40 watt diode. You have that 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters area, the same as the UV one. But you do have those dual lasers, but they're more powerful than the normal F2. If you want portability, F2, without a question, 4.6 kilograms. I've taken it on the bus. I've taken it on the train. Honestly, it's worth its weight in gold, especially if you're doing car boots, craft fairs. Very, very portable. Can be run off a large enough battery. So if you've got a battery, they're about 300 quid. You can run it off that. You can obviously run it off a generator. And the air purifier that comes with it, that pairs with it, takes up very little energy too. So you can run it off that. So I advise that you check that out. And again, if you have any questions, please do reach out. I'll put my information on the screen one last time. So just down below is my email address, my phone number. If you go to info.ascendcd.com, you can find my socials if you prefer to reach out to me that way. And again, if you have any questions, please do let me know. I'm here to help you. And if a laser isn't suitable, I'm more than happy to tell you that. So I've told some people a laser isn't suitable. So for example, we had a customer that was looking at the M2, but they have a large amount of vinyl. They use a vinyl cutter at the moment to do what they do. And they were looking to pretty much switch out that with the M2. And the problem is they have large amounts of vinyl that cannot be cut or engraved because it's PVC based. But they ended up going with the M1 Ultra because it has that blade. So it has the same functionality that they had with the vinyl cutter. Plus they now had the ability to use a laser. So it's all about finding what works for you. And I'm more than happy to tell you if it doesn't work or this is what you need. So sometimes people that want to print, they need a printer. And now xTool have this O1. So I've had a load of people buy that, and that's fantastic. It's about finding the right tool for the job for your business needs. And I'm happy to help you there. Thank you for your time. I'll see you again tomorrow at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. even, sorry, not in the morning. So 12 p.m. tomorrow, and then I'll be online again on Saturday morning at 8. And that is to go over specifically the M2. It's a Q&A session. I will cover everything the M2 can and can't do. I'm happy to have questions. I'll be printing, I'll be cutting, I'll be engraving. I'll be going over the tech specs, all the nitty gritty. Please do check it out. Thank you, and I'll see you again.